I want to take you back to the past. Unfortunately, I didn't know it at the time, one of my claim to fame. I had to handle one of Australia's largest corporate collapses. Why was it such a big deal, and why do we need to talk about it? Because it's still one of Australia's largest. So 17,000 people didn't know it was happening, but in my research I found this awesome multiplier, and you should write this down, because no matter how many people you're making redundant, at the moment in Australia we're using a 4.4 multiplier. So if you multiply the number of redundant people you're making by 4.4, you will actually get the bigger, wider impact. So what I learned from the ANZIT employees, that those that moved fast and actually managed their own mindset move faster. What was the process? And I've discovered that William Bridges is right. There's 3 stages of change: a stopping, a staying and a starting phase. And of course I've used the airline analogy here. There's this holding pattern, and it's a not go anywhere. It's maybe lots of frantic activity, but you're actually not going forward or backwards, that you go through. So every transition's the same, and you're the same with anything that stops in your life. You will go through a transitionary phase. People said that they were fragile freight. This was the last plane in, and what she'd done, the flight attendant, is grabbed the fragile freight and stuck it on her. And I thought this was really point for us, because we're dealing with fragile freight. They are our people that we've known and we've possibly loved, and they are fragile. And it's really, we're in powerful positions in human resources and in change management and in leadership, and it's really a nice opportunity for us to manage this fragile freight. So I looked at 2 case studies that are supposedly best case studies, best practice for this. And the first one that I reviewed was one that happened in 2005. And when you do any research in redundancy space, this one comes up all the time. It's the MG rover. And the reason this is up there as one of the great ones is because the government created subsidies, the local council created support systems, local manufacturers got involved. It was very much a community and a town and a city that really got behind the whole factory closure. But what we know about the workers, and which is interesting for those of you in car manufacturing, is that what was supposedly the thinking was that these would be low skilled people. The discovery was they were very highly skilled. So car manufacturing workers today, and those of you in that industry know more than I, fairly highly skilled, fairly highly paid, worked in autonomous teams, are really well trained. So actually they looked at that group and thought, whoa, we thought we'd have lower skilled people. So they actually had to modify the training and the career programs to suit. They ran the standard career fairs, they had other employers in town, they had universities involved, and they did so many things. And mostly they struggled with the long-serving group, which was about 25% of them had spent only their time with MG Rover. And really what's coming out of this research is that that's the group that are definitely going to be worse off. Those that are lesser skilled, and the technical, highly technical people are going to move faster, but they'll go through that same career transition curve, and they're basically possibly going to be snapped up quicker and faster. So Mitsubishi was the other one that I looked at. So I looked at all the research that I could on Mitsubishi's closure in 2005, and this was the Flinders Uni paper. From what I could see, they were, again, high quality manufacturing jobs, skilled workers, above average salaries, very similar to that MG Rover, and I'm noticing a trend in that car industry. There was about 1,000 jobs lost, but I got some stats, and this was what I was able to pull out. There was 72% earned less 3 years later, and 11 the same, and 15% earned more. There was around 11, this is a small amount stayed in manufacturing. Small amount stayed in manufacturing. Some went to construction, 6% health, mining and defence. And in terms of outcomes with Mitsubishi, there was some, that paper was recommending that there needs more counselling and support. So we also know, now this is probably the biggest message of tonight, if you are making lists or if the whole organisation is transitioning, can you please highlight those under $65,000 in salary? Because there's an immediate need that these people are going to have. The studies show that as soon as they're under 65, they're likely to be unskilled, and they're likely to have English as a second language, and they're also likely to be close to retirement. And if they are in that cohort, this group is the group that costs the Australian economy the most money.
This has been a Swinburne production.